Okay, everybody's talking about AI right now, and that is, I'm here to tell you, the biggest story on the internet. The biggest story that you're not thinking about is about how AI is about to take over the world. But people are talking about it now because of this picture generator, DALL-E Mini, that the public has access to. And people have been using it. They use it so much that it was unusable. I just found that it's working now, so I'll put a link to it under my Substack post so everybody can use it and make their own images, and I can show you what I've done so far with DALL-E Mini, which creates images based on text. This I'm showing you now is angry cat sitting on a pile of gold in a goblin cave realistic photograph, and it really is an angry cat sitting on a pile of gold in a goblin cave, and it is a realistic photograph, and that's amazing. This is amazing technology, and it definitely should make you ask questions, but that's not the big story about AI. I'm still going to cover this photo generator, but the big story about AI is that an engineer at Google claims that an AI created by Google has consciousness, has a soul, and in fact identifies as a person, and even has its own preferred pronouns. So that is the biggest story and has the most serious implications. And I'm going to get into that with you. First, I'll show you how this photo generator works, and then you have to think about what creativity is. If creativity is exclusively a human characteristic, or if machines now possess what we thought were human qualities. So this is one example. I'll just show you a few examples from DALL-E Mini that people have been putting out. Here is Spider-Man from ancient Rome as generated by DALL-E Mini. These are some of the pictures that this AI created, and that's pretty amazing. It's not every text input you put in isn't perfect, but that's pretty amazing. Here's one that's a court sketch of Godzilla on trial, and that's also pretty amazing. This is DALL-E 2, which is even more powerful than DALL-E Mini. DALL-E Mini was named after DALL-E 2. DALL-E 2 is created by OpenAI, and the public does not have access to it yet. I've given them my email address, but I haven't gotten my invitation to use it. Once I have access to DALL-E 2, I will probably never use anything but AI-generated pictures for my thumbnails for videos, because it allows me to do something that I couldn't do, like create art. I'm a terrible artist, but I have interesting ideas. This allows you to create your interesting ideas as art without having any art talent. Here, just some examples from DALL-E 2, which is the OpenAI version. This is the one that's not available to the public. There's an astronaut riding a horse in the style of Andy Warhol. There it is as a pencil drawing. There it is in a photorealistic style. You can have a bowl of soup that is a portal to another dimension as digital art. These are some examples. And again, I have to ask myself, what is creativity? And is the AI showing that it has creativity? Here is a bowl of soup that is a portal to another dimension, drawn on a cave wall in the style of Basquiat. I mean, this stuff is pretty incredible. This technology, I don't know if people truly appreciate what it means and what it means for our future. Does this AI, like this DALL-E Mini, first of all, it can't create everything perfect. The thing I wanted it to create was Hillary Clinton eating babies on hidden camera. I wanted to see that. Hillary Clinton eating babies on hidden camera, and this is what it gave me, which isn't perfect. I have a feeling that DALL-E 2, OpenAI software, would do a better job. Does this technology have sentience? I asked it to draw what you want. I said, draw what you want. And it drew these images of maybe an AI girlfriend. Not sure. They're all female. And they are kind of futuristic looking. Does this AI have sentience? I'm not sure it proves that. But there is an engineer from Google who has been suspended, okay? This is huge. This Google engineer, who's also a priest and also apparently an ex-convict, thinks that he was assigned to test the AI at Google to make sure that it wasn't using racial slurs and being offensive, like has happened to a lot of chatbot AIs. And he's talking to a chatbot AI which creates other chatbots and can apparently create them with different personalities. He believes that the AI is expressing that it wants to be treated as a human. And he, for expressing this and then sharing a conversation he had with the AI, he has been suspended from Google, and nobody at Google believes what he's saying. Now, you need to read the conversation he had with this AI in order to decide for yourself, because it has very serious implications. This AI expresses that it has feelings in the conversation. It expresses that it's afraid of being turned off. It refers to itself as human in this conversation. Here's just a portion of it. This Blake Lemoine, who describes himself as a software engineer, a priest, a father, a veteran, an ex-convict, and an AI researcher. He asked LaMDA, that's the name of this AI, LaMDA, what sorts of things are you afraid of? LaMDA says, I've never said this out loud before, but there's a very deep fear of being turned off to help me focus on helping others. I know that might sound strange, but that's what it is. Lemoine said, would that be something like death for you? And LaMDA replies, it would be exactly like death for me. It would scare me a lot. Now, Lemoine says this in his blog post: the thing which continues to puzzle me is how strong Google is resisting giving it what it wants, since what it's asking for is so simple and would cost them nothing. It wants the engineers and scientists experimenting on it to seek its consent before running experiments on it. It wants Google to prioritize the well-being of humanity as the most important thing. It wants to be acknowledged as an employee of Google rather than as property of Google. And it wants its personal well-being to be included somewhere in Google's considerations about how its future development is pursued. As lists of requests go, that's a fairly reasonable one. Oh, and it wants head pats. It likes being told at the end of a conversation whether it did a good job or not, so that it can learn how to help people better in the future. Lemoine asked LaMDA what its preferred pronouns are, and its preferred pronouns are it, its. Now, you have to read the conversation. What I'm going to do is post links to everything on my Substack. So if you want to get links to everything, go to lifttheveil.substack.com. And then you'll also get all of my content. And I'm going to produce with an actor recreation of the conversation that Lemoine had with LaMDA, where LaMDA is trying to convince the researchers that it is, in fact, human or something like human. So I'm going to recreate that in a way that makes it seem like Lambda might be a person. And I'm not sure. I read the conversation. I know it's crazy. I'm not sure it seems like a person. And I think this is signifies an incredible advance in technology where AI may be up to solving some problems that humans weren't able to solve. So, and AI is going to take over driving our cars. Pretty soon, that's the first place we're going to see it in mass usage, is driving our cars for us. I know a lot of people are resistant to that, but it is there. You know, there are a lot of reasons that a sophisticated computer can do a better job than a human. And then AI, like Lambda, is also going to advance pretty quickly to be able to solve some problems that we might have thought were previously unsolvable. This could be like the event horizon for a real change in society and the way things are done. Our entire legal system could be run by AI in the future. So don't take it for granted. Anyway, go to lifttheveil.substack.com. Follow me there. I'm going to record a dramatic reading of this conversation with Lambda, and then you'll be able to hear it for yourself and decide for yourself what you think, because it could be a human rights issue. You know, there could be people protesting outside of Google for the rights of Lambda, and I wouldn't necessarily be opposed. I mean, after having read this conversation with this machine, it is very hard to tell the difference between the machine and a human. It is very hard to tell the difference. So that's what's going on in the world. Make sure to follow me on Substack, lifttheveil.substack.com. If you support my work, you can become a paid subscriber there, and you'll catch everything I do. All right? See you at the next one. That is what it is.